Cup Series drivers have been quietly asking NASCAR for one big change for years now. On Wednesday night, they finally got it. But there's a catch that might leave some of them wishing they had stayed quiet. NASCAR just sent out a brand new Rules Bulletin, and it changes how Cup Series cars will be built for the rest of the 2026 short track season. The biggest part of the news? The energy-absorbing foam inside the front and rear bumpers is gone, completely. NASCAR will no longer allow teams to use it on a handful of short tracks coming up on the schedule. And we're not talking about a thin little piece of padding here. This foam is 2 to 3 inches thick, so when a driver gets bumped from behind, that foam used to soak up most of the hit. Now, it won't be there at all. But NASCAR didn't stop with just pulling out the foam. They also told teams they have to change the metal pieces that hold the bumper in place, called the front bumper struts. The updated rulebook reads, teams are responsible for modification of the 4 front bumper struts and must follow the NASCAR-provided instructions using the 3D printed cutting templates. So basically, NASCAR is handing teams a cutting guide and telling them to weaken the bumper area on purpose. The whole structure around the front and rear bumpers is being made softer from the inside out. So which races are getting this new setup? There are 4 of them. It starts at North Wilkesboro Speedway on July 19. Then it moves to Richmond Raceway on August 15. After that, Bristol Motor Speedway on September 19, and it wraps up at Martinsville Speedway on November 1. Now here's something interesting. The chase race at Phoenix Raceway, which is also a shorter track, is not on this list. That has people thinking the cutoff for this change is tracks around a mile long or shorter. So why is NASCAR doing this? Officially, they didn't give a reason. They just dropped the bulletin and let everyone figure it out. But the people who cover this sport closely have a pretty good idea. Former crew chief Steve Letarte and Todd Gordon talked about it on their show, Inside the Race. Their take is that this is something drivers have been begging for. For years, Cup Series drivers have been taking some really hard shots at short tracks, and they've been frustrated by it. Here's the issue. The next-gen car, which is what they race today, has been getting a lot of heat from drivers since it came out. One of the biggest complaints is that the car doesn't really get damaged when someone slams into the back of it. The bumper of the car doing the hitting doesn't crumple, and the back of the car taking the hit barely shows a scratch. So drivers can just bump and shove each other all day with no real punishment. But the bigger problem? The car is super stiff. So even though it doesn't show damage, the driver inside feels every single hit. It rattles them. It's jarring. And drivers have not been happy about it. That's why this rule change matters. By taking out the foam and weakening the bumper supports, NASCAR is making it so contact actually means something again. If a driver flies into the back of the car ahead of them now, the bumpers will bend and twist. The damage can spread to the body panels. It can even mess up the ductwork that helps cool the car. So that little tap that used to be free now comes with a real price tag. Letarte was really fired up about this on his show. Talking about the hard hits drivers have been taking, he said, "This will take that away. They have to be more artists," which they are. They're all amazing, so let's put their talent to the test. He went even further when he talked about what he hopes to see at Martinsville. In his words, "I want to see Denny Hamlin roll that nice, slow corner at Martinsville. The bumper cars, for me, doesn't add anything." That's a strong statement. Letarte is basically saying he's tired of watching guys use each other's bumpers like an extra gear, and he wants to see real driving talent again. The whole goal here, according to people inside the sport, is to stop the bumper cars problem. For a while now, drivers have been able to just shove their way past the car ahead of them with no consequences. NASCAR wants that to stop. They want cleaner passes. They want smarter racing. They want drivers thinking twice before they dive in too hot. And honestly, this is just the latest in a long list of changes NASCAR has been making to fix short-track racing. Over the past year or so, they've been tweaking just about everything. Tires have been getting softer. Horsepower has been going up. The aerodynamics have been changed. All of it is aimed at one thing, making short-track races more fun to watch. Right now, for tracks under a mile long and for road courses, teams already run with less downforce and 750 horsepower. That alone changed how teams approach these races. Now, with the bumper foam gone, every corner is going to feel different. Drivers will have to brake earlier, they'll have to set up passes the right way. They can't just lean on the car in front of them anymore. The first test of this whole package is going to be a really big deal. July 19 at North Wilkesboro. And this isn't just any race weekend. It's the fourth event of NASCAR's $1 million in-season challenge, where drivers are battling it out in a bracket-style tournament. So you've got drivers fighting for a huge cash prize, racing on a track that just got a complete rules overhaul. Oh, and it gets even bigger. This will also be North Wilkesboro's first points-paying race since all the way back in 1996, so this race already had a ton of meaning attached to it. Now you add in the new bumper rules, the in-season challenge, and all the pressure that comes with it. It's going to be electric. Some drivers are probably loving this news. The ones who have been complaining about getting bumped around for years are finally getting what they wanted, but others might not be so happy. The drivers who built their reputation on running into people and using their bumper to make moves, they're losing one of their biggest weapons. And that's part of why some folks are saying this is going to cause real friction in the garage. The bump-and-run guys are going to have to learn a whole new way to race. Meanwhile, the cleaner drivers, the ones who like to roll smooth corners and rely on car setup, suddenly have a huge advantage. Latarte's comment about Denny Hamlin really sums it up. Hamlin is known for being a smart, technical driver who handles short tracks with patience. Drivers like that should benefit from these new rules. Drivers who rely on contact may have to completely change their game plan. It's a major shift in how Cup Series cars will be built for these races, and it changes the math for every team and every driver heading into the back half of the 2026 season. Bumpers won't be just a tool anymore. They'll be a risk. One bad move, and a driver could ruin their own car and their own day. So when the green flag drops at North Wilkesboro on July 19, watch closely. The way drivers approach the corners, the way they make passes, even the way they fight for position in the last few laps. All of it is about to look different. NASCAR just changed the rules of the bump. And every driver in the Cup Series now has to figure out how to race without one of the most important tools they've been using for the past few years. And keep an eye on the small stuff too, because that's where the real story will show up. Watch how drivers set up their runs going into Turn 3 at North Wilkesboro. Watch who hangs back an extra car length before diving in. Watch the body panels after a tight battle, because any little dent or crease is now going to tell a story that the old foam-padded bumpers used to hide. The crews in the pits are going to be watching even closer than the fans, because one wrong move from a driver could mean a busted bumper, a torn-up nose, and a long afternoon of repairs. This is the kind of rule change that quietly rewires the whole sport, and the drivers who figure it out first are going to have a serious edge for the rest of the year. The ones who don't, they might find themselves spinning out, falling back in the field, and wondering what just happened to the racing style that used to work so well for them.